No. Ooh.
Hey, mic check 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9.
Hey, mic check 1 2 3 4 5. Hello, mic check. Sounds like we're almost ready.
Yeah, 1 2 3 4 5.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us here on After GMS. So glad to have you with us. It is 7:45, and welcome to a little ditty we put together every day, Monday through Friday, where we get you to interact with us, and we love corresponding with all of you. I'm Tracy McCain in the studio. I'm going to have to figure out who's on my left and my right here, so let's start this way. Ed Matthews is in the weather garden. Megan Malaris is working from home, as is Stacy Spivey and Taran Kirksey. Look, I can move, I can pivot. Speaking of pivoting, Taran, let's pivot in terms of the forecast. Wow, what a morning, and now it's just absolutely beautiful out.
Yeah, you know, we had heavy rainfall across the area earlier this morning. Let me switch the graphic for you. So we'll talk about the tropics in just a few minutes. But we had some heavy rain across the area earlier this morning, but that fizzled out quickly. And now we are looking at a decent amount of sunshine. But just like yesterday, as we start to heat up the atmosphere some more, we will start to see those showers and storms beginning to pop up. And we're looking at right around a 50% chance of rainfall where you live. And then as we go into the evening, anything that did pop up during the afternoon hours will start to dissipate. High temperatures today, hot again, with highs ending up in the upper 80s to low 90s. We'll keep the rain chance at around 50% for Thursday. and then up to 60% for Friday as the rain chances start to go up. Our temperatures will come down a little bit with high temperatures back in the mid to upper 80s Friday and Saturday, and then temperatures back in the upper 80s to low 90s as it stands right now as we head into early next week. That's a quick look at your forecast.
All right, we'll look forward to 80s for the rest of the week. Right now, we have to turn to a big conversation happening this morning along Guilford County school leaders, parents, teachers. Well, school leaders last night approved part of a reentry plan for the new school year. Students, teachers, staff, all returning to 9 weeks of remote learning to begin the year. After that, there is a lot to be decided. So we'll get started with our coverage. WFMY News Candace Red is breaking down the school decision and the future options.
Guilford County Schools is kicking off the upcoming school year with at least 9 weeks of remote learning due to the coronavirus pandemic. We know that the school board voted 6-3 in favor of the decision. This was all during yesterday's virtual meeting. As part of the district's reopening plan, students will be able to return to the classroom for in-person instruction no sooner than October 20th. But before students return to campus, the school board will review public health data and trends concerning the COVID-19 crisis. The board plans on discussing and choosing the re-entry scenario at an upcoming meeting. Well, the board also approved calendar modifications during yesterday's meeting to bring the district's school calendars into compliance with a new state law approved back in May. Well, it requires all North Carolina public schools to start on August 17th, except for non-traditional schools. Well, Superintendent Dr. Sharon Contreras is asking parents for patience and understanding during these uncertain times.
What I do want the parents to understand is that we hear them and we care, but essentially what school districts were told was good luck. You know, it's the pandemic, good luck, work it out, superintendent, work it out, school boards. And we're doing the best we can, but we're not public health officials and we don't have a lot of resources, but we're trying to still provide for their children and to take care of the families.
Guilford County Schools is joining 41 other school districts right here in North Carolina who plan on kicking off the school year with remote learning. For more details on that, all you have to do is visit our website. That's WFMYnews2.com.
And of course, this is the top conversation on our Facebook page and all social media platforms this morning. But of course, we want you to continue to join in on the conversation. We want to know if you think that GCS made the right decision. Go ahead and comment below on our Facebook stream right now as I tell you more about the thousands of people that have already weighed in on our Facebook page. Let's just go ahead and take a look at a few of them. Shay shared, the children need to be back in school learning, period. My son is going to 11th grade. He needs face-to-face learning, not online. Online is not for everyone. Danielle added, if we are going remote, we need our kids to have live instructions, no pre-recorded lessons. Azariah said in part, the thing is, I would rather have my students have tech issues than COVID. And even ending with Juanita saying, as parents, let's remember that this experience will be what we make it. Our students are watching how we handle situations where there is no win. So, do you think that GCS made the right decision? Go ahead and weigh in now. And we also want to know what questions you have for the school district. We'll try to get those to them. We are trying to work on an interview with Superintendent Dr. Sharon Contreras as we speak. So go ahead, share your questions and thoughts below. I'm going to continue monitoring our Facebook stream as I toss it back in the studio to get everyone else's take on this.
Well, you know, I said this on the Good Morning Show. I really don't feel like it's my place. And I will say that confidently. I don't have children in Guilford County Schools. And there are a lot of parents who do. And those are the opinions that the school board should listen to. So I asked this question on my Facebook page because, again, not my place to weigh in on this. But a lot of people said that they prefer it to be all online for longer than 9 weeks. Of course, we'll have to see because the district can pivot at any moment and decide to either extend that or bring it back. But right now they're saying 9 weeks of remote learning only. Again, just my thoughts. I'm not getting in the middle of this one. It is a hard decision no matter what. Meg?
Yeah, I agree, Tracy. My son is obviously not school age yet either, and I can't imagine the discussions and these decisions that families are having to make on whether they do go ahead and let their child do this virtual learning or the AB schedule, depending on which school district you're in, or if they opt for the all-year virtual option, which many Triad districts are offering, but you have to pay attention to that deadline. I believe I recall for Guilford County, it is coming up in early August. If you would like your child to learn online all year round through the virtual learning option that's available, again, separate from this first 9 weeks of remote learning. This is decision time for parents to try to figure out how they are going to make this work. Many parents have already returned to their work office buildings and are no longer working from home. So I'm sure that they're going to have these conversations with their employers on how they can balance this. One viewer brought up, and I am sure Stacy will talk about this in monitoring these discussions, Wanda had mentioned that it's now the parents' responsibility whether they take that on or hire someone else to do it, but to make sure their kids are learning, are completing the instruction, and are turning in the assignments to make this virtual learning period successful. A lot going on. I know there's really no right decision here or ideal decision here. Maybe that's the better word to say. But, I think it's important to encourage your parent friends who do have kids in schools that they're doing the best they can and they're making the most of the situation at hand with the information provided to them. So it's important to maybe just reach out to your friends who do have kids and check up on them. How are they doing? And give them some encouraging words to say it's going to be okay.
All right, Stace, you have been looking at the Facebook conversations, and what are people saying?
Yeah, and first I want to add something to what Megan just mentioned. Also, think about those teachers and the staff as well. They're having to adjust and try to figure something out and navigate this unknown as well. So I have a lot of teacher friends, so I just always keep them in mind. So maybe you want to check in on your teacher friends, family members, and staff members, and of course, anyone that's working, making these decisions. But a lot of people seem to be in agreement with the decision that the school district made. Leslie says, I'm glad they made this decision. I wish it was for the entire fall. Dana says it's better to have students, teachers, and staff alive and safe. Let's see, Tamrika says they do need school, but we want our kids safe. As parents, our kids are first. I think they did right, but better safe than sorry in my opinion. Another person says, I agree with their decision. A lot of people, let's see, trying to monitor when we're getting a lot of comments coming in. I mean, right now we have just about 200 people on this live stream, so you can only imagine how many people are weighing in. Wanda said, I understood parents have to work, but at the end of the day, it's their responsibility as parents to make provision for the child. Of course, I don't have kids at this time. I cannot imagine making this decision. I know it would be a very hard one, but of course, if I had children, their safety would be my top priority, and I'm sure that all parents can agree with that.
All right, Meg, did you want to say something? Looks like you have your hand raised.
Yeah, if I may. Yeah, I know it's just the format here, but a couple people pointed out on the Facebook page saying that GCS did extend the virtual school deadline. You are correct. I'm looking at the GCS page right now. It says that registration deadline to enroll your child in virtual learning is now extended from August to September 15th, 2020. There are no prerequisite requirements for this registration. So again, September 15th is the deadline for that all year virtual schooling, if that's what you and your family opt to do.
All right, yeah, I noticed that a lot of people had wrote that as well. So thank you for keeping us on our Q's and P's, P's and Q's, periods, question marks, whatever it is, we have it all covered here for you on After GMS. All right, guys, a great conversation going. Keep it going. We have a lot more to talk about. We want to remind you that there are different decisions coming in from districts across the Triad, not just Guilford County Schools. So if you want to know what's happening in your area, text schools to 336-379-5775. We'll send you a link to our school guide, and that will have all the information for all of the Triad school districts and what their reopening plans are this school year.
All right, let's get to your headlines this morning before we jump into our second talker. The governor says the latest COVID-19 numbers show North Carolina is starting to slow the spread of the virus. And his new ban on alcohol after 11 p.m. starting this Friday will help, he believes. The number of people going to the emergency room with COVID-like symptoms has started to level, and health experts say confirmed cases are also stabilizing, while the percentage of cases coming back positive is decreasing. Hospitalizations, unfortunately, continue to rise, with a new record set yesterday. The governor says everyone's actions will help slow the spread of the virus, and wearing a mask and continuing social distancing efforts are key. 2 large-scale COVID-19 vaccine trials are now underway in the U.S. These trials, one by Moderna, the other by Pfizer, each involve 30,000 volunteers, and they're in phase 3. That's the last phase before the vaccines are potentially rolled out publicly. If either trial is successful, health officials say a vaccine could be a possibility and ready to go by the end of the year. Vice President Mike Pence will visit one of the companies making a vaccine here in North Carolina. Today, he'll visit North Carolina Biotech, NC Biotech in Raleigh. He'll also visit a private school in the Triangle. Thales Academy in Apex reopened last week with in-person learning for more than 300 students.
Well, another big talker this morning is the weather. Tropical Cyclone 9 could turn into a tropical storm as it grows in strength. And for the latest on this, we've got to go to our meteorologist, because I am definitely not one, but I know two that can give you all the information. Ed Matthews and Turan Kirksey.
Well, I tell you what, it has been a rather busy tropical season so far, and my friend Turan is tracking yet another system that may become a tropical storm later today.
Yeah, you know, we've been watching this disturbance over the past several days, and it is getting a little bit more organized this morning. If it becomes a tropical storm, which I believe it probably will over the next 12 or 18 hours, if not before then, it'll be Tropical Storm Isaias. And we are going to zoom on in and take a little bit closer look at this system. It's really a lot more organized than it was, but I will tell you this. As it becomes more organized, our forecast confidence will become a little bit higher. You've probably seen out on the social media the forecast cone that's already been put out for this, because they are expecting it to become a tropical depression or a tropical storm soon. But the initial forecast was based on a center of circulation that was probably more up in here, but now the deep thunderstorm activity is down here. So keep that in mind. You have to take this cone with a bit of a grain of salt. Again, look at where the center was located as of the last advisory, which is right now at 8 a.m. I think it's probably going to form a little bit more to the south of that, but we'll watch it. Right now, the cone is mainly focused across Hispaniola on into maybe Florida as we go into early next week. But again, it's still very early here in the game. We'll have to keep a very close eye on this as we go through time. But if it does track more so across the islands, that interaction with land should help to kind of limit the development. But our latest spaghetti models, again, focused on a more northerly center of circulation, has it kind of going up the East Coast as we go into next week, which is still possible. So we'll have to watch it. But at this point, you know, it's still so far out in time. It's not something for us to be highly concerned about right now, but it is hurricane season, so you should have a hurricane plan anyway. And we'll have a better idea where it's going to end up once we get more so towards the weekend, I think Saturday and Sunday. So that's something that's way out there that, again, we're going to keep an eye on and keep you updated as necessary. What's of more immediate concern, Ed, is really the heat, the humidity, and the chance of pop-up showers and storms.
Oh, yes, indeed. You know, Turan and I have been tracking many 90-degree days. You know, we went for a long time in the season and didn't have our first 90-degree day until the first day of July. And since the 1st of July, we've had a whopping 20 days in July where the temperature has reached 90 or above, and many of those days where the temperature was above the 90-degree mark. In a normal season, we would have about 37 days where the temperature reaches 90 or above. We may get a little bit of a break from 90-degree heat over the next few days. I think upper 80s and lower 90s today, pretty close to 90 tomorrow. And then look at Friday and the weekend, and maybe even into early next week. Temperatures drop back a little bit, mainly because, well, we're not going to have hot, high pressure in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere. And also, we're going to see a little extra cloud cover as a frontal boundary kind of stalls right near the Triad. That'll give us a little better 50% chance of afternoon storms today and tomorrow, and then upwards of a 60% chance coming up on Friday. So the extra clouds kind of helping us out, but it's still going to be very, very muggy. So not a big difference, but anytime we can, you know, knock off a few degrees from these hot highs, we get pretty excited about it. Now the weekend overall looking pretty good. A somewhat less chance of afternoon storms Saturday and Sunday, about a 30 to 40% chance. So I think you can go ahead and start making those outdoor plans for the weekend. You'll just have to keep an eye on your WFMY News 2 weather app and keep an eye on the sky, and you'll be A-OK for the weekend.
All right, so Taran, I'm curious, do they really call them spaghetti models, or is that just like a weather cool term that you guys just chose?
I think it's just one of those kind of terms that makes it a little bit easier to understand. I mean, they're just different models that in some cases it's the same computer model that is injecting different assumptions that can kind of give us different ideas. For example, you'll have a model that will give you a forecast for if the storm is shallow or if it's a weaker storm, the thunderstorm heights are lower, so it's not a real strong system. Or if you have a medium-sized system, or if you have a storm that's really deep in the atmosphere, so you have a strong hurricane or a strong tropical, well, really it's probably a hurricane in most cases, where you have a bunch of tall thunderstorms. You can also think of it like a sailboat. So a really strong hurricane has a lot of tall thunderstorms, so it's going to tap into the upper level winds with a taller sail, so to speak. A weaker system, you tend not to have as many tall thunderstorms, so it's going to have a shorter sail, so it's going to more so tap into the winds or the steering currents that are a little bit lower in the atmosphere. So there are a lot of different things. And I know a lot of times people just look at, oh, well, most of the spaghetti models are in this spot, but that's not necessarily the best way to try to figure out where a system's going to go. And in this case, it's still trying to get organized. And all over social media, yesterday and the day before, people showing spaghetti models and this and that. And now it looks like the center of circulation is really going to end up forming well to the south and west of where it looked like it was going to form yesterday, and that's going to completely change the trajectory of this system as we go through time. But bottom line is, it's way out there. A lot can change between now and 10 days from now. Right. So we'll just have to keep you updated on it. We'll watch it.
All right. Well, we'll definitely watch it. I don't like it when weather makes me hungry. That's the only thing. I don't want to talk about spaghetti models because now I'm hungry. But I understand.
I want to say one thing. Yes. Taran and I do not name these storms, by the way. Isaias, a very interesting name. I'm sure I'm going to stumble across that one a lot during this storm, but that's the next name, so maybe named later today. Isaias.
Isaias.
Yes.
Is that the southern Sanford version?
I think it's Spanish. No, that's not the American.
Isaias.
I think that is Spanish. Is that correct, Taran? I think it's a
Spanish. Yes, Isaias. And so if you want to think about it with if you follow the Spanish language, or you've taken Spanish, or you know Spanish, it has a little accent mark on the second.
Told you there was an accent.
Isaias. And so the World Meteorological Organization is responsible for coming up with the names, and they try to come up with names that reflect the languages that are spoken in the ocean basins where these systems are formed. So you have French that is a spoken language in the Caribbean. You also have Spanish, and you also have English. And so the list of names tries to convey and cover all of those languages. So this one it's an unusual name if you don't speak Spanish, but John or Tom would be an unusual name if you speak Spanish or French. So just try to make sure that they're getting the messaging for everyone in the Atlantic Basin, not just the United States, because there are more countries than just the United States that are impacted by hurricanes, especially this time of year.
Right. Wow. I always feel smarter.
Can you tell that Triad used to be a teacher?
I can. And you definitely feel smarter after talking with them. and you also feel hungry after talking with him. And there's just so much that happens when you're talking to Taran and Ed. But they're too excited now, so now we have to go. Okay. We'll be back tomorrow with more great conversations, your morning headlines, all of it. It's all coming up on After GMS tomorrow at 7:45. And please join us starting at 4:30 tomorrow morning for the day's top stories. Take care, everybody.